Oh yeah, I'm living my best life.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody, because I know we've been talking for a while, why don't you tell everybody what you're up to? If you want to talk through some of the history of like, Milwaukee and Hal Leonard and stuff like that, you're welcome to. But just because he like hasn't said it, Derek's one of the like, you were probably one of the most proficient musicians I know. And I'm probably one of the few handful of people that has watched most of your progression from your early days of instrumentation, playing along with you all the way up until now. Dude is salty. So I've been spoiled with all the musicians I get to play with. But walk people through, you went to Central Methodist and then you did postgraduate for music performance to start.
Yeah. So the way it worked out was I did a Bachelor of Music Education here at Central Methodist. Took a year to save money and do some auditions. And then I went to Middle Tennessee State University to do a Master's of Music and Jazz Studies with the goal of becoming like an artist educator. So performing, gigging, teaching, life is great.
Yep.
Didn't work out that way. I did get my degree. I did teach and I did perform, but doing that in like higher education is not like when I got into working in higher education, it became very apparent that this was not what I thought it was going to be. I was an adjunct professor, which is, adjunct work is almost always at the mercy of enrollment numbers. And so I finally, after like the second semester or the third semester in a row of having my class sections cut because of enrollment, was the catalyst for me. Like, I can't do this.
Right. Were you working a different job during that stuff, or was you solely relying on that?
I was teaching privately too, and that has its own ebbs and flows. And then I was starting to get into performance, and so I was in Nashville.
Working at Casey's in the meantime.
No.
You're solely relying on this. Yeah.
Right. So I was, but I mean, they say that Nashville is a 5-year town. I was about 4 years in when I started getting calls to go to the Musicians Union building downtown to start rehearsing with some more high-profile groups that were forming at the time. And this was in 2019 before COVID. So that was cool, but I had like my classes had been dropped and then, hit a low wave with private students, like especially during the summer because they go take vacations, they have summer ball, whatever. I mean, I was down to the point of going to the plasma donation center as much as I physically could.
Wow.
And so that was pretty low. I was
sorry. Okay. I don't know why. I think of Mark Thompson a lot. And for some reason you saying plasma made me think of too much magnesium.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's a deep cut.
I'm sorry.
Deep cut.
Anyway. Okay.
No, it's all good.
Dude, so you're just giving everything you have.
Yeah. So
how much do you get paid for plasma?
Well, at that time it was like $50 for your first session or $100 for your first session. Is it worth
more now or less?
I think it's worth more now post-COVID.
Okay.
During COVID, it was at a premium, and like everybody and their brother was giving plasma. I'm not joking.
Yeah, it's still a thing. Dude. When I was in college, everybody, like all the cheerleaders would like come to practice like all messed up because
does it hurt?
No, it's just like giving blood, but you have to be careful. They put the blood back in you that's been cleaned out or whatever, and I remember thinking like, this is terrible. I went, I gave plasma. It took like 2 hours. And then I went to the Chinese restaurant down like the strip mall where the donation center was and like blacked out in the booth because I had got overloaded on sodium.
Oh, from the meal.
So they're like, yeah, go eat something good, man. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get some General Tso's.
Go eat something good.
I was like, laying down at my booth table, and then like
by yourself,
by myself, and then like kind of snapping out of it, throwing a 20 on the table, and then just walking.
Decided to get in your car.
No. I walked back down to the plasma center. I said, I just passed out. Like, can you help me? And they're like, yeah, wait in this room.
Oh gosh.
And I waited for a little while. And so I decided that I couldn't continue that. So I actively looked for a way to get out, and I did one of two things. I was part of a nationwide audition process for the U.S. Air Force bands in the regional band program. So I do need to clarify, like, it's not like, the U.S. Air Force band in D.C. or in Colorado Springs or anything like that. So not a premier ensemble, but it's for the regional bands.
On what instrument?
On guitar.
On guitar.
So
because you played trombone, right?
I was on trombone as a scholarship while I was at Central. But so the Air Force still runs a pre-screen process for their regional band programs. So it ended up being me and 3 other individuals who flew out to Sacramento, or just north of Sacramento, to do the in-person audition. And one guy got the gig, but 2 of us got standby agreements. So we had passed the audition. We were good enough to join the Air Force, and that they would call us when a position came available within a year's time. We wouldn't have to re-audition. I was like, well, okay, that's cool. That's not a solid job offer. Yeah. I'm not signing anything right now in front of me.
This is we'll call you if we need you.
Yeah. So I put in an application with Hal Leonard, like right when I got home. And
still pre-COVID?
This is still pre-COVID. So this is summer of 2019. And it took about 6 weeks to get through the interview process. I flew up to Milwaukee to do the interview. And then a couple of days after I got back to Murfreesboro, I got a call from the executive VP saying, hey, when can you move up? And so I went up there and I became a publication editor for them. And so to give context, like Hal Leonard at the time was the global leader in print music.
Are they not anymore?
Not anymore. They got acquired. So
by who? Amazon?
No, by the Muse Group.
Dude,
so
okay, Amazon should have bought Hal Leonard. Books distribution.
Well, there's that.
Anyway, sorry.
The Muse Group, they're the ones that own MuseScore and Audacity, and Ultimate Guitar, which is interesting because
I think I have that app on my phone.
Yeah, so Ultimate Guitar, they had been in like a licensing agreement with Hal Leonard. Basically, Ultimate Guitar is a user-generated tab website that
can I describe it?
Yeah.
It's free, but they put the wrong chords on there to get you to buy the real stuff.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that. They have cleaned a lot of it up since the merger. But that's another part of the story that comes a little bit later. So I move up to Milwaukee. I become a publication editor. I'm working on all of these books that are sent on a global scale. And then like 2 months in, I got a call from an Arlington, Virginia number, and it was the Air Force. Mm-hmm. And they said, we have 2 positions open. Which one do you want? You get to take your pick. And I was like, I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. Yeah. Probably the best decision I could have ever made.
Wow.
Because it allowed me, so fast forward to March of 2020, the world shuts down, and I go through, it was another pretty low point. I had been in a relationship that had ended very badly. And I was just feeling this draw to come back home to Howard County. And so I worked out a deal where, we're all working remotely and nobody's allowed to go into the office. So I said, can I go back home to like my home state and just work from there, and just be with my family for a little bit? Because, we're on a farm. Yeah. It's not super restricted.
And you're in Milwaukee in March.
Yeah.
Get me out of there.
I know. The only thing I could do there was run outside. Yeah.
You a runner?
I was a runner.
No, you're not though.
No, I'm not.
Good for you.
No. Yeah. It hurts my knees. But, so I came back and just the timetable kept shifting because the stop the spread never
2 weeks to flatten
ended,
the curve.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It never stopped. And so they said, you know what, you can stay up there.
This podcast is brought to you by nobody. That's right. Nobody paid for this spot. But this could be your business ad, personally attested to by me with a personalized recommendation. Obviously, I have to like, your product, but I will personally attest to this ad slot. And if you're trying to reach the ears of Fayette, this is the place to do it. So if you want to advertise here, please email us at landonballstudios@gmail.com. That's LandonBallstudios@gmail.com.
And that's when I reconnected with Kaitlynn, because we had dated a little bit prior to me moving to Tennessee. And we reconnected, and there were some other things going on. Like I got into Celebrate Recovery to just kind of deal with my, hurts, habits, and hangups, as it were. And she was actually in my amends process. I made amends to her for just how I had left things. And so we started dating after that. And then I decided, and I had bought a house earlier in 2021. The people up in Milwaukee did not know that I had bought a house. And I just felt this strong sense like this is where I'm going to be. And so I made all of these moves. And then in November of 2021, I had put money down on a ring to propose to Kaitlynn. And then Milwaukee called and said, hey, can you be back here by January 1st or start moving your way back? I was like, guys, I'm a homeowner and I bought a ring, and my girlfriend owns her own business that she can't just sell it. She can't just move away from it. And so we worked out a deal, and I was able to just stay here.
Nice.
And that worked out well until 2 months after our first daughter was born. And then I found this out. I put the pieces together after the fact. Post-COVID, or like during the time of COVID, and then when everything was opening back up, it had really hit the company fairly hard, and they had to do a lot of pivots.
Yeah. That's a corporate word.
Yeah. They had to do a lot of pivots. But some of that meant unavoidable, like layoffs and furloughs and things like that. And I made it through a few of them before I was affected. And so March 2023 was like, how am I going to provide for a wife and a newborn baby? So that was stressful. That led to maybe looking into getting into consulting. You and I talked about that a little bit. But then the idea of taking a music ministry consulting business and turning it into a ministry was put forward to me. And I took that and I ran with it. And that's what led to one of the projects that I'm doing right now. It's called Worship Strategies. And so I go to small and mid-sized churches mainly, and I provide consulting for them on production, musicianship, some aspects of discipleship, but within like a musical setting, and especially coaching worship leaders and maybe giving lessons to some of their team members, but at no charge. So I'm sponsored as a college minister would be, where they have a team of financial sponsors to go out and do their work. And so I go and do the work for these churches that can't necessarily get over that kind of financial barrier that typically comes with consulting. And so it was very formative. I learned all kinds of stuff about marketing and sales, and even digging deeper into like systems management and stuff like that. It was incredibly stressful. I got shingles like that year. Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 31. 31? Yeah.
How do you,
2023.
like, is that when you don't? Do you get shingles when you didn't have chicken pox? Or
No,
when
you have to. You have to have had chicken pox.
Yeah.
I think.
So I had chicken pox when I was little, but
I don't know if I had chicken.
I did too. I'm dreading that day that it might.
so shingles.
They're pretty awful.
They're absolutely terrible. It's the worst.
Anything help it? Like a warm milk bath or something?
You can try to find ways to distract yourself from the pain, but it's nerve inflammation. That's what it is. And it's brought on by stress mainly, especially if you're younger than 50.
Yeah. If you were like 31 and weren't sure if you could pay your bills, that'll do it.
Yeah. And like starting a ministry where you go and you cold call people and all of that. And like, you're not, I was never used to being in a position of either politely or impolitely being told no, or, everything that comes with that world.
Yeah.
That was a tough adjustment, but, right now I have a really great team of people, who are behind me to help me go out and work with these churches. And, I send out a weekly newsletter that is like an action newsletter, that goes out to.
How do I get your newsletter? Can I get it?
Yeah, you can get it. Yeah.
Newsletter.
It's if you go to worshipstrategies.com.
Yeah, doing it.
My newsletter platform that I use now is through Beehive.
Okay.
So there's actually like a worshipstrategies.beehive.
Oh, it's the first thing that pops up. Sign me up. That's great. A call to action button right on the first. You know what you're doing. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, you got it on he like linked it to the pod. Like it'll be linked to the podcast.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, good. Yeah, we'll put the link in the podcast
perfect.
too.
Yeah. So, send out an action newsletter. There's roughly 100 people on the email newsletter, and then there's a duplicate one on LinkedIn where I've got like 180, almost 200 people. So, sending out to between 250, 300 people every week. Awesome. Just my thoughts on various tips and things. Yeah.
And that's kind of a venture of like obviously passion and skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just really, it goes back to your comment about like you can teach people to do something, even artistically, aesthetically, whatever.
I could learn to paint if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
I may not be Da Vinci,
right?
Or whatever.
Right.
Is that who that is? Da Vinci?
Yeah, he painted.
Yeah, okay. DiCaprio.
Bingo.
Mona Lisa.
Like the idea is going into these spaces where you might have one person who is like the piano player or was the organ player, and someone who sings special music and things like that. Like it comes with a certain idea, it comes with a certain perception, but just going in and saying like, okay, do you want to make this better or do you want to take this into a different direction? Worship Strategies is not about taking a small country church and turning it into a faith family.
Right.
That is not the goal. It is to say, who are the people in this congregation who can do something like this or are willing to do this? And are they willing to learn? Are they willing to kind of push themselves? And create something that is reflecting themselves and they're not aspiring to be someone else.
Yeah. I find that a lot with like churches. It's when they're not doing that, they're really trying really hard to be like Elevation or some sort of worship group. And it's just like, that's something I've always said. It's like, listen, if this was about producing the most perfect craft, then we should just play YouTube videos on the screen. If this, at least from the congregant's perspective, right? There's always just this, a lot of times criticism about the music product. And I'm like, well, if this was for you to listen to, Spotify's got better audio quality than these speakers in this church. Yeah. No, it's totally about singing together. I think that's my prerogative as a worship leader is creating, spaces for people to sing truth together and loudly. Singing loudly.
Yeah.
But anyway, keep going.
Well, I just to kind of riff on that, like creating a space where where music can be enjoyed without distraction. And sometimes maybe lack of ability or lack of awareness or any of those kinds of things leads to that kind of distracting experience. And that ranges for all kinds of groups, whether it's at a small church, small country church, or at a mid-sized church like Faith Family. We would call Faith Family a big church for around here. On the grand scheme of things, it's a mid-sized church. But all that I'm called to do is just go in and say, what are you guys looking for? How can we find alignment on that? And then here are the tools to get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Some of that has looked like, giving lessons to younger players. Right now I have a young lady who's taking online guitar lessons because she's a dynamite singer. She's really, really good. She wants to learn how to accompany herself and play in the band. So she's getting guitar lessons. There have been situations where I had a worship pastor from elsewhere in the Midwest who was like facing dismissal. And so we worked out a coaching package and a very specific sequence of giving him the tools that he needed to do his job well so they would retain him. It was kind of like a restorative type of thing. And in the end, the elders voted to keep him on. He eventually did move on to a different congregation that was more suited to his management style, more suited to how he led worship services and prepared for them. But that was a really neat experience to say, like, okay, we're going to do evaluation that's objective, but it's going to seek to build you up and not tear you down.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be a good success story. Well, let's talk about, Kaitlyn's and the other part of your life here before we wrap up. But yeah. Tell me about the good stuff, the tasty good stuff.
Yeah. So my wife, Kaitlynn, is amazing.
Is that what it's named after?
Yeah. So Kaitlynn started let me backtrack. So Kaitlynn grew up in a very rural area in the town of Brunswick. It's a town of 900 people in a county with no stoplights. It's north and west of here. And she finished school, and instead of like choosing to go on and pursue a degree after high school, she wrote a business plan and then opened her deli and ice cream shop. And it started just as a way for her, like it was a kitchen hobby. She had done some fundraising for mission trips, and with some of the things that she's made, she would probably correct me on some of those details. But in a broad sense, she was doing stuff in her kitchen, and then she had a storefront. And it was a deli and ice cream shop, and she is still going and owns it outright. So it's completely paid off, and it's still in the same location. And she has this really great reputation around the region for what she does. And so I'm really, really proud of her for that. Her big passion, or the thing that really brought a lot of popularity and notoriety to the shop were her cheesecakes. So she's known for her gourmet cheesecakes, and she had recipes that she grew up with, some that she researched, and then did her own research into making her own.
So no culinary school,
but consistently just being recognized for the quality of what she does. And so when we got married, she was really clear about, she wanted to be able to raise kids at home and homeschool them. And for a while, we were banking on my corporate position to provide the means for her to step away from the shop if she needed to, or if she wanted to. And so when that changed, we launched Worship Strategies, and that, kind of had it. And in some ways, it still is in this very much a startup phase. But the Lord provided through different ways. I'm part-time staff at Faith Family Church, and I've done gigs, I've done all those other things, and she's continued working at the shop while we're both raising two little girls right now. But then just coming to the conclusion of like, okay, what is something that we have in place that we can really scale that would enable her to have the time to raise kiddos and to homeschool them, or for us to both do that too. But she can give a lot of her attention to that, and everything pointed to me becoming more involved in expanding what Kaitlynn is doing, or what Kaitlyn's is doing. And so she trained me up. I started working on a business model about a year ago this time to do more of a wholesale approach to her cheesecakes. It's now turned into more of we're not doing wholesale on a large scale, but we're just kind of expanding her direct to customer approach. So I go to the River Market, the historic city market in Kansas City, every Saturday with her cheesecakes. That's like a 14-hour day by the time you load up and get back home and unload and all of that. I also bake the market cheesecakes. I only do about 6 of the flavors that Kaitlynn has at her shop at any given point in time. And she has, I think it's like 8 to 12 flavors at any given point in time in the shop. Wow. But I'm making the majority of the market cheesecakes and doing all the marketing, doing all the sales, and all of the other production related things, so that we can replicate it and she doesn't have to step in and do it herself, So letting her enjoy more of being a business owner than having a job at her business, which is critical for anybody who's looking to do their own business, and really seeing it grow. You have to get to that point of like you need to own your business. You don't want your business to own you. Yeah. So we're trying to set up those things right now. So it's been really, it takes a lot of energy, but I always feel energized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That's the energy versus the sugar high. You're doing something that's meaningful and that you guys enjoy. Are you loving it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really, there's definitely better days than others.
Sure.
And there are parts of the process that I enjoy more than others. I really got into, when I was in Murfreesboro, I met a guy named Bob. And I think everybody should have a Bob in their life.
Is this a real name? Or are you
His real name is Bob.
Okay, all right, cool.
His real name is Bob. He wanted to learn guitar, and he was in his 60s. He had already retired. We were able to do a few things on guitar, but the guy's a veteran. He was a Navy SEAL back in Vietnam, and then he was when he got out of the service, he worked a variety of different like manufacturing jobs, and his hands, he had broken his fingers like multiple times and everything. So we played through a lot of just kind of basic three chord songs, that sort of thing, and a lot of Pink Floyd and all that. But a lot of our lessons were having conversations about management and about this thing called lean that he was into.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
is that an acronym?
No, it's just like how to operate a lean business.
Okay.
And so it goes back to the Toyota business model.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah. So he had spent time in Japan learning from the guys at like the Toyota factory, because they're a special case in when it comes to manufacturing, in that they deliver the best value to the customer by eliminating the most waste. And they're the perfect case study for this. And people have attempted to replicate it. Some have been successful, some have not been successful, but you can apply these practices on an individual level, and then you can scale it out from there. And so, we kept in touch after I moved away from Murfreesboro. And when I started looking into ways that we could produce cheesecakes at a larger scale in a small kitchen, I spent a lot of time talking to him, and just his advice was never in the way of like, yeah, you should get this tool so you can do this, and here's your tech stack, and here's this. Like, none of that stuff that you see in the digital social media space. Mm-hmm. But it was like, where can you shave seconds off? What can you do differently from one sequence to the next? And Kaitlynn naturally does this, and she's been able to do this over the course of 14 years. I do things in a little bit different way because we're different people.
Yeah.
But it's so cool when, like for my numbers to work out, let's say I have to make 24 cheesecakes in a standard workday, which is a lot. We have an oven that can do like 12 at a time, but that's a lot of cheesecakes to make. And they're all like big 9-inch cheesecakes.
Yeah. And it matters how they look.
And it matters how they look.
Not just how they
Very
taste.
much so. And so I think it was taking me like 10 hours to get 24 done. And it was hard work. But when I started implementing some of his suggestions, just mindset and like being able to just shave seconds off in part of this process and maybe reordering my steps, it went from 10 hours down to like 7.5 hours.
Really?
It was crazy.
Like what? Like what were like crack your eggs first or second kind of stuff, or like
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Or like get these materials primed and ready to go while you're doing this. But it's not like a multitasking thing, because multitasking always leads to waste.
Right.
So you're focused on repeating one thing, but you're allowing other parts of the process to take care of itself where you can let it. So it's a dance, it's a balance, and you can't replicate it in the exact same sequence in different situations. You have to learn how the process works and then adjust that process for that specific situation. And so I've really enjoyed that when I see that I've been able to close that gap.
Yeah, that's
like
a ton.
that. It was just like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah. 2.5 more hours with your kids. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I've really enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed getting to know people on the market days. So I now have a core group of regulars who are there at almost the same time every day. Just get a slice of cheesecake. And
did you bring any, man? Because now I'm craving it so hard. And you knew you were going to talk about cheesecakes today.
I know.
I haven't bought this man a potato.
Oof.
And bring me no cheesecake.
I'll bring you cheesecake.
Trade you some ice cream for some cheesecake.
Why don't you eat a slice of cheesecake in the next podcast episode?
Deal.
Okay.
Who should I talk to? Okay. Anyway, yes.
So
maybe when I have Kaitlynn on too, she can bring me a whole cheesecake.
Paid advertisement?
You'd have to talk to her about that.
Maybe a slice of cheesecake. Maybe not a whole cheesecake. What's a whole cheesecake worth?
For us.
Yeah, like what would somebody pay for one of her cheesecakes? What do people pay for her cheesecake?
So it ranges from like $75.99 to $99.99.
Nice.
So yeah.
So you just have, $2,400 worth of cheesecakes to make in a day. It's a little stressful, right? If you mess one of those up. Did I do that math wrong? No.
Well, it's actually worth more when you do it on the per slice level.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah.
And then we sell it by the slice.
But yeah, at a minimum.
Yeah.
You got $2,000 on the line.
Yeah.
You can't mess up. Good for you.
Yeah.
Are you like living that thing white people do where they're like, oh, living the dream, I mean,
living my best life.
Yeah, well, I've got that's actually our intro music or outro. Living my best life.
That's the intro.
That's the intro music.
I'm not a Ben Rector guy. Toby literally texted me that like on a photo shoot. He goes, "Living the dream."
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like are you? Is this your dream? Are you living your dream?
It's interesting that you bring that up because I had a conversation, or I've had a couple of conversations about that. So this goes back to me moving to Nashville and like kind of ghosting out on my relationship with Kaitlynn Like my life was going to be music, and it's going to be university, and it was going to do that and like be cool, like whatever, And it's not taking that direction, and I'm okay with it.
Sorry.
Jeez. Oh boy.
Sorry. High church, that.
Whatever.
I'm teasing.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's like
that was the path.
That was the path, and then I felt such this peace and like affirmation coming back home, and then making those steps to stay home, and then when my career, at least on an exclusive sense in the music industry, ended. Now that I'm in this period where I have 2 girls, and Kaitlynn and I are married, and we hope to add more kids, there's an aspect of being a father and a husband, and this is coming from a guy who holds to a complimentary view, and I am unashamedly for that. Okay.
Explain complimentary real quick.
So God has created men and women to assume particular roles based on a particular nature. It does not undermine their value in any way. In my case, as the husband and father, I am the leader of the family. Spiritually, I lead them in what we are going to be doing as far as just like how we do things and that sort of thing. But there's a certain sense of sacrifice that comes with that. And for me, like when I experienced my layoff in 2023, I could have very easily called up connections back to Nashville and said, "Can you hook me up with a road gig?"
And had all the justification in the world to go, yeah, we got to do this or we don't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have justified it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yep.
But my availability as a father, like being in my family's life consistently, was actually the top priority for me. And so I saw the only other path for making it in the music industry, because I'd already tried education, and then I'd been through publishing, like in a corporate sense. Now it comes back to performing, studio work, going out and touring, doing all of that. Or maybe finding like a church that has like a large salary figure for a full-time worship pastor or something like that. Maybe that, but that would involve relocation. So making decisions that led to me going into Kaitlyn's, I feel that like it's a joyful duty. It's a joyful role for me to take on. I still get to be creative. I still get to relate with people. There's a certain kind of draw to, how well Kaitlynn has done her business and made her products, that I'm really proud to be a part of that, because it speaks to her consistency. It speaks to her standard of excellence, and I'm really excited to be a part of that and continuing that. So me laying down like this exclusivity in music, I don't have any regrets about that at all.
And it's got to be fun too, for the sake of analogy, to play in her band.
Yeah.
It's got to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
From that aspect. Like you said, she's created some very cool things, and you get to be a very excellent guitarist in that band, which is fun too, and be creative, like you said. Because you've even asked me questions that I'm like, oh, these people are thinking. Yeah. These people are thinking about what to do. So, well, cool, man. I love hearing all that. If you would give the, so you're 33, you've got kids, you're living your best life. You wouldn't say you've arrived, but like, if you could give advice to Derek at, 26, 27, that realm, Or even Derek just starting to date Kaitlynn. Like, what kind of advice would you give to that, Derek? Or viewers like him? Sorry, PBS.
Viewers like you.
Viewers like you.
But don't take my word for
Defund it. Sorry.
That's a tough one, because the first thing that came to mind was be careful who you share yourself with. When I was 26, 27 is when that relationship episode happened.
That wasn't a specific call out. I was just picking numbers in your age.
Right.
So
okay.
Yeah.
But it's a significant point in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe learning to trust. I don't know if I can distill it down to a single phrase or something like that.
Sure. You don't have to.
Felt in recent days, I felt this release from the stress, even though I've taken on more responsibility. Because I'm just trusting in, like, here's my work. I show up and I do it. But I'm not measuring my worth in maybe how many things I'm getting done. I'm feeling the pressure to get as many things done as possible because, like, livelihood is depending on it. I'm not at a 9 to 5 where I clock in and clock out, where I need to meet a quota or I need to just kind of faithfully do my stuff. I'm in a world right now where, like, support raising needs to meet certain goals, or sales need to meet certain numbers. But I'm not feeling as anxious about all of that right now because I guess I'm trusting the process a little bit more. I don't know how I could distill that down to a single sentence. But maybe just taking the pressure off myself. I don't think I've ever lost perspective of God's promise and provision in all of that. I've never in these days complained to God about, where I was in 2023 when I was laid off. I
think as I've gotten older with multiple kids, I'm becoming less and less the main character, and it's really relieving.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you're maybe describing it a little bit.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of pressure that comes with maybe being a main character.
Which we probably put on ourselves, But yeah, when you're living for yourself, by yourself, shocker. Yeah, you are the main character,
Yeah. I think I was feeling the weight of maybe what a supporting character would be for those kids or for the main character. Where it is depending on my ability to make it happen. Like, you get out what you put in kind of thing. And there's truth to that.
Some.
But just taking choosing to stop work at a certain time to be present, or learning to step away from things that I really like this, or I'm really passionate about this, but I don't have the time. I don't have the bandwidth to do it right now.
Yeah.
That's something for, like, the entrepreneurs out there who are just getting started, or maybe you're in a situation where, like, you've been laid off and you need to put together a bunch of side hustles to make it happen. It's not always the best thing for you to take on every single job that comes your way, because you might say this doesn't really align with what I do, but I can make it happen.
Yeah.
No, just...
This podcast is brought to you by, you guessed it, me, Landon Ball, State Farm agent. Do you feel like insurance doesn't make any sense? You are not alone. My team and I are trying to figure that out, like, every day. if you want to understand your insurance policy better, specifically if you have like a life or car or home insurance policy that some brother-in-law or uncle twice removed sold you years ago, reach out to my team here in Fayette at 660-248-2424 or go to our website at FayetteInsuranceTeam.com. Please don't call me with anything non-insurance related. Don't call our office if it's not about insurance. Please don't call or contact our office if it's about ice cream shop, anything that's not insurance related. Thanks.
If you don't know how to do something or you can't provide value in that, be upfront about that. I was asked by someone the other day, "Hey, can you do some social media marketing for my my business?" It was like a farm to customer type of business. I was like, man, even if I was getting paid to do it, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I just
and the no later to those things is so much harder than the yes now.
Yeah.
That no later when you're having to cut back everything, you know, especially if you're kind of a people pleaser, is just even harder when you're having to quit all these different things that you did join. So yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, I think I'm trying to live by like, I'm trying to walk that line between, you know, like never working and spending all the time with your kids, you know, but that advice of, you know, you ask anybody who's 40, 50, 60, who's maybe a parent of older kids or grandparents, you know, like what's your biggest regret or what do you wish? And I wish I had more time with my kids when they were little. And so I'm hearing that. I'm hearing that from those people. I'm like, I'm going to try to spend as much time with my kids when they're little, realizing it's never going to be enough, you know? But yeah, that's interesting that I think the Lord is working on that in me right now, that like how I operate as a leader matters, but not every choice that I make is creating this spider web of paths for my kids or my family, right? That they're all their own individual humans. You know, I think sometimes maybe in that complementarian view, we can get so heavily on this is all me, and all of a sudden it's not complementary, and it's what is that? Not even patriarch. That's just, I don't know, dogmatic of just like it's all on me. And it's a form of ego, I think, in some ways, you know. Even if it is like in a shameful way, but that's good stuff. I like it. And you work out?
I'm better. I've been.
You're looking good. I mean, you've been heavier, haven't you?
In the past, I'm kind of lax right now because I was
cheesecakes every day has got to be difficult.
Well, I can't eat cheesecake.
Oh, good for you.
Well, so like we figured out when our oldest had an allergic reaction to cashews, we did this whole like panel thing. And I'm not allergic to these foods, but I have an intolerance, and sugar and eggs are at the top along with like soy. And there might be some soy products in some of the branded products that we use, but like eggs and sugar, like
that's in everything.
That's like the pyramid of a cheesecake.
Natural sugar too?
So cane sugar. I should preface. So
I was just like, this dude can't even eat fruit.
So that's the thing is like, if I have sugar with fruit, then it creates problems. I can have sugar by itself. I just choose to eat more fruit. I would enjoy fruit more.
Well, it's better for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways.
There's like no dietary need for added sugar whatsoever.
Right.
There's no necessity.
Except for protein shakes, because they're gross unless you put something sweeter.
Dude, you could justify the sugar though. Like recovery.
There's like in first form, there's like 1 gram in a serving. Would that get you?
Yeah, but with first form,
it would.
1 gram will get you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. With first form though, they sell something separate.
Oh, they do have the stevia stuff. Yeah.
They call it. It's for recovery, and they're like, it's the most purest form of glucose. It's sugar.
Oh yeah, I have it. What's it called? Glycogen.
Ignition. Yeah.
Glycogen.
Which or they brand it and call it ignition. It works, but yeah, like protein is gross.
So
it's terrible.
But like, I can have honey. I can have maple syrup. I can have date sugar.
Those are all natural sugars.
And we use a lot of palm sugar in our house, that sort of thing. But yeah, people ask me like, how do you stay so skinny with the cheesecakes? And I'm like, well, I don't eat them. So I do.
You should be like, buy them and find out.
Yeah. Gosh, people come up to me and they're like, are you Kaitlynn? Because I have a shirt that I wear that says Kaitlynn's on the front. And they're like, are you Kaitlynn? I say, no, I belong to her. And they're like, oh, I like your attitude. Give me 2 slices. And I'm like, yeah, you know. So,
oh man, those cases.
There's always so much good banter at the market. But anyways, working out. So like, for the Air Force thing, I had to do a lot of physical prep.
Really?
Yeah. Because if I got the gig, I would have gone off to basic training and become an airman. So I've been trained just like any other airman.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
And so
that was probably tempting to maybe think about doing that.
Yeah. And I had kind of revisited that idea just over the years of like, what would it be like, if I
especially
did
after
do
Top
that?
Gun 2 came out,
Oh, yeah.
Does he know that?
I
Does he
call
get
that.
the joke?
Do you know what I call Top Gun or Top Gun 2?
No.
We can call it Military Magic Mike is what I call it.
But so was the first one?
Yeah, I mean all of them. Yeah.
Definitely the second one though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
With Austin Miles on it. Is that his name?
Oh, jeez.
Austin? No, it's something. Teller.
Miles Teller.
Miles
Miles Teller. Yeah.
Penn and Teller.
Yeah. But so did the calisthenics thing, ran for a little bit during COVID up in Milwaukee. I eventually was running like 10, 12 miles
Per
a day kind of thing. And
Made him run the treadmill for like 5 minutes once, and he got really mad at me.
It's really
but yeah,
stupid.
like I said, like it bothers my knees to run.
Same. It bothers my knees to run.
Oh yeah, okay.
So then when Kaitlynn and I started dating, got into going to the gym. And so she would be up in Brunswick. I would be in Glasgow, and we'd FaceTime each other while we were working out. And so like early in the
That's
morning.
awesome. You weren't married at this point, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's adorable.
So yeah. But
He said, yeah.
yeah. So
Shoulder.
I've tried to maintain a pretty consistent showing up in the gym. It's hard when you have to start taking care of a toddler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when do you normally work out?
I don't like early morning workouts, and I don't like late night workouts. I like mid morning, 9 o'clock,
We'll do it right
10
after
o'clock.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I would do it in the mid afternoon, but like usually like mid morning. I that's when I feel the best, or like lunchtime. But on the days when I was watching our oldest, like I would go to the Y in Glasgow, and I'd be doing like a heavy high bar squat. And then like I'd go down to do a rep, and a little kickball would be like right there in between my feet.
Was she just out and about in the weight room with you?
Yeah, I had to watch her. I couldn't have
right.
her. I couldn't have her like in the cable room where she'd pinch a finger or whatever.
Right.
And usually I'd sit her down. They would have a table with a chair, and we get out crayons and whatever. But she wouldn't play with the crayons. She'd play with the balls. So
Dude is risking his life.
basically, I'd be like, I need you to go back to your spot now. And then I'd like,
yeah.
Rep it up. And then, but so I bought like a squat, like a squat rack, an incline bench, adjustable dumbbell sets and
I was
stuff
gonna
like
say,
that.
if you want some dumbbells, I got some for sale. But it's just like 5 through 30. So.
Oh yeah, I've got I got a lot of plates.
Do you have the adjustable dumbbells? What you're saying?
Well, no, I actually just like interchangeable plates to put on dumbbell handles.
Oh,
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, like old school. Yeah. So it's in my basement that's semi-finished with concrete spackle.
You have a basement?
Yeah.
That
I knew
old
this.
thing? Have I been down there?
No, we told you about it though.
Yeah, it's totally unfinished, right?
It's semi-finished. So it's
But,
got concrete spackle.
Did you finish it?
No.
Interesting.
No. So it's got concrete spackling, like 7-foot ceilings. And so I call it the dungeon, or Kaitlynn calls it the dungeon. My wife is the one who has the puns in the family.
Nice.
So
that's good to know. When I have her on, I feel like her and I can riff on some puns. Yeah.
So I did have an injury a couple months ago where it's just a recurring injury, like in my shoulder going up into my neck. But
me too.
And I got it all fixed at Abide Wellness. And
did you now?
chiropractic.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
Chiropractic did not do it for me. Actually, working out has gotten rid of that like neck twinge.
So, well, I like
for now.
Strengthening it has helped that recurring injury. But if I do an overhead press without proper warm up, it tweaks and then I'm out.
If I do a fly too high,
Yep.
last summer it was like debilitating. a couple of times. So is that your shoulder strap neck too side?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, it's all here. It's kind of comes from that. During college, I worked on a spray crew for a tree service where I held a spray gun in my hand like this, and we worked for like 10 hours a day. So I think just static, it's just like sitting at a desk where you get the weird neck hump thing going on. I think it contributed to this lack of mobility. So like if I lay down on the floor, I could touch the back of my right hand to the floor, but I can't do the same with my left hand. It just, it won't go back. And so, but I've had to, and it definitely has a difference in strength between sides if I'm performing certain exercises and things like that. But now that injury is pretty much kind of settled down, I'm really looking forward to kind of getting back to exercising. I got a few other things I need to fix and acquire to get back to a level that I'm used to when I was at the Y Glasgow. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I got a dumbbell set if you need it. But, well, was there anything else you want to talk about? We've got Kaitlyn's, bakery or deli, sorry, right? Is that what it's called?
Kaitlyn's Deli and Ice Cream Shop.
That's in Brunswick.
It's in Brunswick. You can go to Kaitlyn's.com.
We talked about Hal Leonard, worship strategies, church. Yeah. Kaitlyn's.
Some of the other things, like it's been like just the overall entrepreneurial journey has been really transformative, and just spending time in those spaces. When I tell people that like LinkedIn is my favorite platform to get on, they're like, "Isn't that for
I'm
just
trying to get into it."
Sometimes it sucks.
It just feels like,
dude, I have to pay. It's like $40 a month to get anything worth.
Well, I mean, I'm on the free version, but I just feel like I'm getting everybody's fakest best version of themselves. Like it's professional Instagram, and it's just
it kind of is.
It's just hard. Like it's hard when I see buddies that I know talk one way, and then I see them making comments on a post, and I'm like,
yeah,
like, you're totally just. Oh,
but it just depends on like who you come into contact. Like, so if I wasn't on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have been involved in this project called Malachi Daily, which is a newsletter. It's a scripture memorization newsletter. They send them out once every 2 weeks, and it's a 5-day installment. So I got really good. I honed my copywriting. But got an insight into building a newsletter audience, which is one of my strategies for building worship strategies. So Malachi Daily started off as a like text SMS service to give you scriptures to memorize just through text messages. They pivoted into newsletters, and they went from like maybe 1,000 some odd subscribers from their text service to grossing 100,000 subscribers 2 weeks ago. And this is over in the span of 2 years.
Wow.
And so, and it's free to access that, but they've been able to scale on very big budgets. And just so learning the advertising space and utilizing the right platform. That's why I'm with like Beehive. You've probably heard of things like Substack and MailChimp and all of that. Like Beehive is a newsletter platform that has their own in-house ad network, where you can take out ads on another guy's newsletter, or you can receive like in the same way.
Wow.
You can get outside sponsorships, all kinds of stuff. So people would think like maybe it's like Facebook ads, but it's not exactly the right way. You get to curate what's coming in and going out. And, it's a really, really cool platform. And just learning how to do that from guys who are experts at doing it, and then implementing some of those same strategies for what I'm sending out. So
that exists in the podcast space. Like,
this is something that when I was telling you that I learned that content strategy isn't just social media, like I think like I thought it'd be cool with State Farm, but I understand there's rules with that.
Yeah.
But Landon Ball, like with the Landon Ball, like it didn't have to be like Landon Ball's blog post could be different than the podcast. And it could literally just be what you're thinking about that day. You word vomit, and then we put it into I'm
like it feels like
here, but
that distribution is a lead into something else. Like I'm thinking about, for me, I don't spend much time on LinkedIn, but I'm thinking about like YouTube. Like one of my favorite channels is a golf channel.
Yeah.
But besides, I'm assuming the ad money that he makes, he's got 1.5 million subscribers, is he owns like a golf club company and he owns a golf apparel company.
And you can blog post on YouTube, you can blog post on TikTok, you can blog post on like almost all the platforms.
But I'm just thinking in the podcast space, wouldn't it be nice if I knew I wanted to get in front of like say I had an audience that I was trying to capture? Because basically what you're saying is somebody can go, I want to pick the exact audience, not just like when you do Facebook ads, it gives you age demographics and location demographics. That's about it.
Yeah.
With if you can do that on a blog post, you have clear demographics. Well, again, I said this, I think off our podcast, but not just demographic, but psychographics. Like I can know that I'm specifically pointing to people who want to hear about, like I can post on a blog if people want to memorize scripture. I know the psychographics of my audience there.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And wish that existed in the podcast world.
What
I bet it does.
I'm confused. What do you mean by that?
Like, let's say I wanted to place an ad spot for my podcast in another podcast audience.
You could do that. You could pay for an ad slot with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it sounds like what's the Beehive?
Beehive
has a very clear platform of how to pick and choose that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a podcast platform that lets you do stuff like that.
I don't think it is necessarily, I don't think there is a podcast platform that does that. A tool like Beehive newsletters are kind of the main vehicle because that's what's kind of hottest right now. But they allow for like there's a lot of like integrated media
into it,
types of things. So there's a YouTube channel called Colin and Samir, really big following out of they're from LA, and they run a newsletter called the Published Press or Published Press, and it's just kind of a riff off of like Press Publish for YouTube. So they have their YouTube channel, they run their newsletter, kind of crosses sometimes, but the newsletter it's kind of just this like two-way feeding back and forth between how they're getting people to the YouTube channel, how they're using the YouTube channel to get people to their newsletter, how they recommend people from their newsletter. Like, so I don't think
people really reading newsletters?
Yeah.
Or is it more about just being able to quantify how many people are on that list?
It's as big as podcasting. Like people,
seriously?
I personally read.
Dude, I have never unsubscribed and deleted things faster than getting on a newsletter I don't want to be on.
Well, there's a lot of people who like don't listen to podcasts too, though. Like a lot of people think podcasts are stupid.
Like what audience is reading? Do you read newsletters?
Yeah.
Did you read newsletters before you started doing newsletters?
No, but I wasn't aware of what was in the newsletter space. So like I read the Pour Over every day.
Is that a coffee newsletter?
No, it's a Christian newsletter.
That wasn't a joke.
That's what I was
immediately where my brain went.
Yeah. So, have you heard of Morning Brew?
Coffee?
So, it was like the college version of the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
And so, it was Alex Lieberman who started that at University of Michigan. Yeah, University of Michigan, I think. Alex, sorry if it was Michigan State. I don't think it was Michigan State.
Probably Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
Yeah.
So it was like a way for college students to kind of access what was going on in Wall Street Journal type of stuff.
Okay.
And it grew into a multi-million-dollar company, and they sold it a couple of years ago. They exited out, and it was huge. And so you had some, I don't want to say the term copycat, but like people who took that and ran with it. And the Pour Over kind of did the same thing. Like Morning Brew has their cup of coffee. It's the first thing that you like read in the morning newspaper. The Pour Over is a newsletter that gives you the world news, but from a Christian worldview, and always gives advice or a filter in which, like, where's a scripture, where's a prayer that can apply to this particular situation. And they ship it out Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Ship it out via email.
And it comes straight to your inbox. And so the idea is that you're curating content that you want to see, that you know will come at a certain time, and you don't have to just go scrounge social media and just be on Facebook or be on Twitter or on this all of the time to get your social media updates, or to just find the things that you want. It's fairly similar to like a YouTube channel that always uploads maybe every Monday or something like that, a new episode of.
Well, it sounds exactly like what I'm doing with the Vietnam Weekly News.
Yes.
Yeah, but written format.
So,
right.
So another really good example is KC Daily. It's headed up by a guy named Nick. I think it's Hageman. I don't know how you say his last name, but I know his first name is Nick. Just gives the goings on in Kansas City. And it's nothing like, there was a protest and blah, blah, blah. It was like, hey, here's this festival you get to go to. Here's what's coming. A new restaurant is opening. Chapel Roan is going to have 2 shows at the World War I Museum. And here's how you can score some discounted tickets or something like that. Like, there's local newsletters are huge,
right.
but then
like
other
the
niche
Vietnam
newsletters
news segment is the most viewed thing we produce. It goes very well.
Yeah.
So the path to monetization, though, is probably not. I feel like the path to monetization doesn't necessarily require engagement. It requires lists, right? Like, I'm trying to say, how could I monetize the Vietnam Weekly News? What if I did a newsletter that kind of had maybe some video and some print, and then that quantifies what that unlocks is I pay a substantial amount for branding and impressions on the internet on like Kelly Blue Book and to be on things like that. I'm guessing that opens up that world of advertising, versus if you're just on YouTube, you probably don't unlock that world of advertising till you're multiple thousands of subscribers in.
And that kind of depends on which approach you take. You can have you can maybe pay for impressions, or you can pay for actual like clicks.
How does the pour over make money? Is there ads in their
They do
newsletter?
advertisements. And so they typically have a featured sponsor. And so the featured sponsor they could pay them a flat fee. I mean, I've looked into it. They do have they have a schedule you can talk to their advertising team about. But there are newsletters in the space that work on like a cost per click, instead of,
you got 800,000 people to look at this.
Yeah. And so, a really great company to look at for that kind of like implementing that strategy is betterletter.co. It's headed up by the guys who do Malachi Daily. And so there's actually the spots might be filled up on the 21st. Kieran Linehan, who is he's one of the main guys behind Malachi Daily, betterletter.co. He's joining another 2 folks on a panel discussion for this online webinar. It's on the 21st. If you go look up Kieran on LinkedIn and you see some of his posts, or it might have even been on my LinkedIn page where I reposted it. The link is there, and it just gives you all kinds of strategies to take your audience from zero subscribers to monetization. And it's not just thinking about things in the traditional advertising route where you take out ads for a flat fee. There's all kinds of ways to make it happen, and he's done it of several different ways. These other folks have done it several other ways, and so, but yeah, the idea of a newsletter coming in, it serves a group of people who are like the TLDR, like too long, didn't read.
It serves that kind of person? Because I feel like the newsletter takes the most reading.
Just the attitude behind like too long didn't read.
Okay.
Like if they don't want to go watch a podcast episode to get all the information, they can go to a newsletter and they can get the points that they want if you formatted it well.
Got it.
That sort of thing. So like the Fayette Nom thing could work well in that way, in which you have your kind of subject headlines all segmented out and whatnot. But then you have other people who want to watch the podcast or view or listen because they're entertained and they want to feel that kind of engagement with hearing you and whomever else is on the other end. But a lot of folks are doing this integrated media approach now where they're taking the content ideas and repurposing them or shipping them, delivering them in different formats just to meet different audiences. So just like Colin and Samir, they'll document they went through the whole like LA fires. They were both affected. Both of those guys, their homes burned down. They talk about that in their YouTube channel, and they talk about a little bit of it in the newsletter that they send out, but it's just like one part of what they are doing. And then they direct your attention to some other things that are also linked in the newsletter and whatnot. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That and direct mail is coming back. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yes. I have heard of that.
Because now your email inbox is more cluttered. Yeah, your email inbox is more cluttered than your post box now. So I have found that anyway, because like every day I check my mailbox and I actually get disappointed when there's nothing in it.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I do get something, it's some bogus Allstate ad telling me my premium's about that I'm paying 4 times more than I should be.
Oh.
But still, I looked at it because there ain't nothing else in my mailbox, They finally got rid of like the Dollar General ads where they weren't even coupons. They were just telling you what the prices were. And I'm like, I was never wondering if hemorrhoid cream was $2 at, Dollar General. So
is it?
We'll leave that to the imagination. That's a good deal, folks.
Jeez.
All right. Well, this has been good. This has been good talking with you. Well,
thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on. My world and the world is better with you in it, so I'm glad you're here. And bring me a cheesecake next time. All right. It's ridiculous.
I'll bring you cheesecake.
Are you guys still doing the, not the air fried, freeze dried?
Yeah.
Are you still doing those?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are those doing well?
I mean, it takes care of another, it helps eliminate waste and repurpose it.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Right back at it. Cool. All right. This has been good. Thanks, Derek. Outro music.
Now for the very first time